Minister of VSA and his Chief of Staff is not allowed to enter the building of the government. KPSM arrests 2 suspects in Welfare Road narcotics operation. MP Westcott urges explicit consideration of St. Martin in Kingdom assessments and second chamber debates. The Carnaval de St. Martin will occur from February 7th, 2026 to February 18th, 2026. From the island, St. Martin, this is SXM Daily News for January 8th, 2026. MP Ardwell Irian would also like to mention that I understood that the Minister of VSA and his Chief of Staff is not allowed to enter the building of government. And I think that if that is true, I would even like to pass for 10 minutes.
I would also like to mention that I understood that the Minister of VSA and his Chief of Staff is not allowed to enter the building of government. And I think that if that is true, I would even like to pause him for 10 minutes, as you've done in the past when we had urgent discussions, to find out why. Because if a minister and a Chief of Staff is not allowed to enter the building for security reasons, however, I believe as members of Parliament, we should be updated on this urgently. I don't think that's a not serious matter. I even understood that police is supposed to be called in if they do enter the building. So I believe as a coalition, I'm actually very disappointed that we didn't start off the meeting with a notification from government on this, right? And I'm hoping that before we continue this meeting, that we get an urgent response on this matter.
I forgot to respond to your request pertaining to what you understood to be the case at the government building. And yes, MP Irian, I shall just briefly adjourn this meeting. Let us understand if there's any truth to what you understood to be the case. If there's any truth to what you understood to be the case, we'll get to the bottom of that. MP Irian, I guess this would have been your proposal of order. So with that, my apologies. I overlooked that statement because I wanted to say that, yes, I'll give ourselves a few minutes just to understand if such a matter is taking place. I heard from the Minister of Finance and also subsequently received a quick phone call from the Prime Minister, who I have asked to put this matter in a brief to Parliament. However, no minister has been denied access to the government building. It has to do with a member of staff of the Minister of VSA that, based on whatever information which the Prime Minister hopefully will elucidate in his writing to Parliament, which I have asked him to do, why a member of the staff of the Cabinet of the Minister of VSA has been denied access to the administration building. So, members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, the details we are awaiting from the Prime Minister, but that is the situation right now.
Continuation of an urgent public meeting of Parliament for deliberations on issues surrounding the Central Bank of Curaçao and St. Martin, the House of Parliament, on January 8th, 2026. Speaking on the floor of Parliament, Minister of Finance, Marinka Gums.
Permit me to begin, Madam Chair, by expressing my sincere appreciation to all members of Parliament for their questions, all of which I will address. For clarity and efficiency, I have grouped the questions into 3 categories. Category 1, those related to the Central Bank of Curaçao and St. Martin, particularly to the procedure for appointing members to its Supervisory Board of Directors, especially its chairperson. 2, questions related to ENIA, and 3, questions related to Mullet Bay. Madam Chair, I will begin with the first category related to the CBCS with questions posed by the Honourable MP York. Madam Chair, MP York asked for clarification on my reference to a political firestorm at the start of my presentation. Madam Chair, by political firestorm, I was referring to the media campaign which several persons embarked upon immediately after the conditional nomination was approved by the COM, and incorrect information pertaining to this decision was leaked to the press and made public. Next question. Did the Central Bank's Supervisory Board share the candidates it identified in its letter dated 21st of January 2025, or has the minister never received them? Through you, Madam Chair, no candidates were shared. I believe the Honourable Member of Parliament is referring to the SBOD letter dated January 31st, 2025. That letter did not include a list of candidates. It merely informed me, and as it was also shared with all members of Parliament, that the SBOD had identified a strong pool of candidates for the chairperson and intended to proceed with interviews in the near term. However, at the time I proceeded with the conditional nomination in August 2025, no candidates had been provided, nor had any updates been received from the SBOD. To date, nearly 1 year later, no further information has been shared, and I am therefore not aware whether any interviews have been conducted since January last year, but to date, no name for chairperson has been provided. As Minister of Finance, I felt it was important to take the initiative. St. Martin has waited too long for Curacao to decide the way forward, and with our chairmanship, it was time to show that we're not junior partners in this monetary union, but equal players. Next question. Did the advice leading to the conditional nominee go through the proper steps? For example, legal affairs before reaching the Council of Ministers. Through you, Madam Chair, the nomination process for the chair of the SBOD, as stipulated in the Central Bank's charter, does not constitute an advice that must be reviewed by legal affairs. It is not a legislative matter, and as such, does not require advice from legal affairs. In addition, for clarity, such as an advice conditional does not require submission to the Council of Ministers. However, out of respect for the Council of Ministers, I deemed it important that they were informed of and agree with the proposed nominee prior to my engaging in discussions with my counterparts in Curacao, so as to not to proceed without their knowledge, hence the reason it was a conditional nomination, dependent on many other factors. Next question. Where in the Central Bank's charter is there any reference to a conditional nomination? Through you, Madam Chair, the charter does not speak of a conditional nomination. As I explained in my presentation, the Council of Ministers gave its blessing to a candidate I nominated, provided that certain conditions were met. As ministers, we are permitted to bring matters forward within the Council, and the bank charter does not determine what I may or may not bring to the Council of Ministers for agreement. As previously stated, and out of respect for the Council of Ministers and the sensitivity of the matter, I chose to follow that approach. Next question. Who is the first in line of legal advice for government decisions? Which department or office? Through you, Madam Chair, the first legal advice would come from the Minister's Cabinet, as most ministers have a legal advisor within their cabinet. In addition, legal advice may be obtained from the Department of Legal Affairs and the government's legal counsel. Furthermore, ministers have a budget for consultants, through which legal advice can also be sought from external entities when necessary. Legislative matters, however, are processed through legal affairs and subsequently the Council of Advice. Next question. When the minister said she pleaded with the former Minister of Finance to keep the chairmanship for St. Martin, was that verbal or by email? And can the minister share that email? Through you, Madam Chair, the conversation between myself and the former Minister of Finance of Curacao took place face-to-face during his courtesy visit to St. Martin in June 2024, during which various topics were discussed. It did not take place via email. In addition, there is a long-standing gentleman's agreement whereby the chair position rotates between St. Martin and Curacao. Next question. Was the former nominee presented to the SBOD before his name was discussed for a potential conditional nomination and presented to COM? Through you, Madam Chair, no, he was not. As I explained, Madam Chair, the process had only just begun, and my action was taken as a result of the SBOD not recommending a candidate and my intention to ensure St. Martin gets the chair. Next question. Did individuals or candidates submit applications for the post? Through you, Madam Chair, no, there were no applications. The position of chair of the Supervisory Board has never been publicly advertised. This is consistent with the manner in which a chair of the CBCS is selected, which does not involve a public advertisement, but is based on candidates known or familiar to the board members. However, this matter was discussed with the board, and in the interest of transparency, it has been suggested that the updated bank charter provide for the public advertisement of this key vacancy in the future. This would ensure that qualified individuals who may not be known to the board members or their networks are also given the opportunity to be considered for the position.
The Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labour, Richinel Brugge, is pleased to confirm that SCV Social and Health Insurances will reopen its doors for in-person services for senior citizens beginning in the week of Monday, January 26, 2026. Earlier announcements confirmed that SCV had agreed to implement senior priority hours after recognizing that many seniors were encountering difficulties with online support options. Face-to-face assistance is critical to ensuring dignity, respect, and accessible support for older residents, a priority that Minister Brugge has emphasized throughout his tenure. I am proud to share that SEV has agreed to offer dedicated in-person service for our seniors without the need for appointments, said Minister Brugge. As stated before, our elderly population deserves direct, respectful, and accessible support, not only digital options. I thank SEV for responding swiftly to my request and for making the necessary adjustments to ensure this is once again possible. The in-person senior services will commence on Monday, January 26th, and begin as a soft opening, allowing SCV to continue finalizing preparations to ensure that the facility is not only operational, but also fully senior-proof, with features designed to improve comfort, accessibility, and overall experience for elderly clients. A centralized service area is being created, so seniors no longer have to navigate multiple parts of the building for different services. Minister Brugge reaffirmed that this action is part of a broader commitment to strengthen community services and to ensure that older persons in St. Martin receive compassionate, accessible support. Further details and service arrangements will be communicated directly by SCV as preparations continue. The police force of St. Martin, KPSM, arrested 2 male suspects on Wednesday, January 7, 2026, following a coordinated operation at an apartment on Welfare Road in Cole Bay. The operation was initiated after KPSM received multiple reports from community members indicating that narcotics were being sold from the residence and that the suspects were allegedly in possession of firearms. In response to this credible information, KPSM organized a coordinated plan involving several departments to safely address the situation in accordance with St. Martin's narcotics and firearms laws. Upon arrival at the location, officers attempted to gain entrance to the apartment. The occupants refused to open the door and attempted to flee through the rear of the residence. Officers successfully breached the main entrance and entered the premises. During the search, officers discovered a substantial quantity of narcotics and cash inside the apartment. Despite a thorough investigation, no firearms were recovered. Forensic and detective personnel were dispatched to the scene to process evidence and conduct further investigation. The narcotics and cash were confiscated. Both male suspects were arrested and transported to the police station, where they remain in custody pending further investigation. KPSM remains committed to conducting operations of this nature when credible information is received from the community. The police force encourages residents to continue reporting suspicious activities. Contact information. For tips or information, please contact Police Station 1721 54 22222 911.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurances.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurances.
Member of Parliament Westcott Williams has formally called on the Kingdom Government to ensure that Sint Maarten is explicitly taken into account as the Kingdom of the Netherlands continues to assess evolving conditions in the wider Caribbean. In her letter to the Prime Minister of St. Maarten, the MP noted that a debate on current regional developments has been requested in the Dutch Second Chamber and stressed that the interests of Sint Maarten must not be lost in that discussion, despite the island not being at the geographic center of attention. Small island societies experience the effects of regional uncertainty differently and often more acutely, the MP stated. Scale matters. What may be manageable elsewhere can have immediate consequences for Sint Maarten. Referring to Article 3 of the Charter for the Kingdom of the Netherlands, the MP emphasized that foreign affairs and the safeguarding of the international legal order are kingdom responsibilities, requiring inclusive consideration of all constituent parts of the kingdom, including in parliamentary debates. In a time of heightened geopolitical tension, legitimacy matters. When Dutch ministers act as kingdom ministers on the international stage, their authority derives from the kingdom as a whole. That authority must therefore be matched by accountability to all parliamentary bodies within the kingdom. The MP further underscored the importance of the kingdom continuing to promote peaceful and lasting solutions rooted in respect for sovereignty, international law, and multilateral cooperation. For Sint Maarten, a stable and rules-based international environment is essential to economic security, social stability, and long-term resilience, the MP concluded. The government of Sint Maarten, through the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, ECYS, has officially established 2 Memoranda of Understanding, MOUs, with St. Mary's University, SMU, in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, and the University of Bridgeport, UB, in Connecticut, United States of America. These strategic agreements significantly expand affordable and high-quality tertiary education opportunities for Sint Maarten students who receive government study financing, strengthening access to affordable higher education. The agreements align with the government's continued commitment to socio-economic development by investing in human capital and ensuring that St. Martin students have access to internationally recognized academic institutions at reduced cost. Minister Gums stated, "These partnerships are an important step in expanding affordable pathways to tertiary education for our students. By securing significant tuition reductions and scholarship opportunities, we are ensuring that financial barriers do not limit the potential of our young people." St. Mary's University, Canada. Through the MOU with St. Mary's University, St. Martin students enrolled in full-time undergraduate degree programs will benefit from approximately 41% in tuition savings. St. Mary's University, founded in 1802, is a public undergraduate-focused institution located in Halifax, Nova Scotia. It offers more than 57 undergraduate programs and 31 graduate programs across disciplines including arts, science, commerce, engineering, and environmental studies, and is nationally ranked as a leading undergraduate research university in Atlantic Canada. University of Bridgeport, United States. The MOU with the University of Bridgeport provides St. Martin's study financing recipients with approximately 56% savings on the total annual cost of attendance. The University of Bridgeport, located in Connecticut near New York City, offers over 100 academic programs across engineering, business, education, arts and sciences, and health sciences, and is ranked among the top universities in the region for international student representation. Coordinated through study financing. All applications under these agreements are coordinated through the Division of Study Financing of the Ministry of ECYS. Looking ahead, these agreements follow the expiration of previous arrangements with institutions in Florida and reflect the government's strategic focus on expanding study opportunities within the Caribbean, North America, Canada, and beyond. The Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport encourages eligible students to explore these new opportunities and apply through the study financing platform. Willemstad Police Union SAP has sharply criticized the Ministry of Justice, accusing it of undermining the rule of law after 2 civil servants have reportedly still not received their salaries despite multiple court rulings ordering payment. According to SAP, judges have repeatedly instructed the Ministry of Justice to pay the outstanding wages owed to the 2 employees. The union states that these rulings have not been enforced, even after the ministry reportedly lost an appeal. SAP describes the situation as unacceptable and says it reflects a serious failure to respect judicial authority. The union characterizes the ministry's conduct as ostrich behavior and a clear case of legal inequality. SAP argues that it is particularly troubling that a ministry tasked with upholding the law is itself ignoring binding court decisions. In the union's view, this conduct damages the credibility of the justice system and weakens public trust in government institutions. The dispute has been ongoing for some time and has now taken on a political dimension. Letters sent by SAP in September and October 2025 prompted a committee meeting of the Curaçao Parliament, during which union representatives are expected to explain their objections. As a result, the matter has evolved from a labor dispute into a broader, principled debate about whether the government is complying with judicial rulings. SAP maintains that confidence in the justice system will continue to erode as long as court judgments are not executed. The union is calling for the immediate payment of the outstanding salaries. So far, no substantive response from the Ministry of Justice has been made public.
Good day, St. Martin. We are Officers Richards and Rogers from the St. Martin Police Force, and today we are thrilled to announce a brand new initiative. we are thrilled to announce the start of a KPSM Youth Wing initiative geared towards the guidance of the troubled youth in our community.
It's the intention through this initiative to try and curb the crime among the youngsters on this island and try to help them from falling into that.
In addition to that, we are kindly asking of you, the people of the community, that if you see a troubled youth in your community, if you see them with something that does not belong to them or that they should not have, please reach out to us and let us try to help the youth before it is too late.
In the coming weeks and months, there will be arrest makes where youngsters will be arrested. Hence this initiative, and try to guide these youngsters from falling victims to this crime.
So before it has to reach that far, before we have to come and knock on your door, we are kindly asking the people of St. Martin to help us with this initiative before it is too late.
Help us help you.
Now for the weather forecast, today through Friday midday. Fair to partly cloudy with brief showers possible. Surface winds, today through Friday midday. Easterly to east northeasterly with a light to gentle breeze at 4 to 10 mm, becoming lighter and variable at times. State of the sea. Slight waves are swells 2 to 4 feet. Outlook through Saturday midday. Fair to partly cloudy with brief showers possible. And now your 3-day forecast.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurance.
The Carnival de Saint-Martin on the French side of the island is a vibrant celebration that mirrors the rich cultural music of the French Caribbean. Commonly held from late January to Ash Wednesday, this festival is characterized by its colorful parades, elaborate costumes, and a festive atmosphere that envelops the island. Revelers, adorned in feathers, sequins, and beads, take to the streets to the rhythm of zouk, soca, and calypso, showcasing the island's dynamic culture and artistic flair. During the carnival, the streets of Saint-Martin come alive as locals, and visitors alike participate in various events, including dance performances and music shows that capture the spirit of the community. The Grand Parade is particularly noteworthy, featuring groups that perform detailed dance routines which often reflect the island's history and traditions. Alongside the parades, food vendors offer a mix of French and Caribbean delicacies, enriching the carnival experience with flavors as diverse as the attendees themselves. This festivity not only provides entertainment, but also strengthens the bonds within the community, celebrating their heritage and collective spirit. The Carnaval de Saint-Martin will occur from February 7th, 2026 to February 18th, 2026. Barbadians to access all social services under the new Social Empowerment Agency. Barbadians can now access all social services under one roof, as the government launches the historic Social Empowerment Agency, SEA. Today, Prime Minister Mia Motley officially opened the first client centre for the new agency at 6 Roads, St. Philip.
The Social Empowerment Agency is the amalgamation of 5 of the country's core social services institutions. This includes the Welfare Department, the Child Care Board, the National Assistance Board, the Resilience and Reintegration Unit, and the National Disabilities Unit. Prime Minister Mia Motley says that the amalgamation, a process that started many years ago, is a historic moment for Barbados. She says it was treated as a matter of urgency to make life easier for those vulnerable groups requiring social assistance.
This was a complex process, bringing together multiple moving parts. And as you heard, even to have had 80 meetings across the period of time would obviously consume a significant amount of time. And it is true that I kept on top of the minister in the need for being and moving diligently and quickly. And every estimate, I said, you ain't ready yet. But the bottom line is that I also understood that in getting efficiency of time, that I needed efficiency of communication and efficiency of people buying in to the concept.
Prime Minister Motley says it is now the responsibility of those working within the agency to help build out the social capital within communities.
So that our young people don't believe that a gun is a tool of trade. We need you to build out the social capital in our communities so that people can become productive. Nobody likes to have to go and ask a need, a want, when they can go and earn.
And Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs Kirk Humphrey is making it clear the amalgamation of the social services did not disadvantage staff. In fact, he says following at least 80 meetings with the trade unions, the conditions for workers joining the social agency have been improved.
We did not take advantage of any of the staff, but in fact, the staff are all in a better position in terms of the conditions that we were able to offer the staff. And to date, almost 100%, 99.5% when you do the math, actually came over voluntarily and have decided to join the Social Empowerment Agency.
Minister Humphrey says this is the most transformative social services agenda in the island's history.
People are the core of what it is that we do. People who show up to a social service agency, particularly the people who show up on their first day, are probably having their worst day. And the reality is that we have to be professional, we have to be firm, we have to be, follow the rules, but we also have to be fair. And we also have, PM, I'm stealing all your lines today, but we have to see people.
The first client center at 6 Roads, St. Philip, will cater to clients in the east. There will be one at Bentham, St. Lucie for the north, one at Sunset Crest, St. James, and one at Southern Plaza, Oistins, Christchurch. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
Dozens gathered at Foley Square in New York City to hold a vigil and rally following the fatal shooting of a woman by a U.S. immigration agent in Minneapolis. Protesters laid flowers, waved flags, and held signs criticizing immigration enforcement policies, while speakers led chants against ICE and the Trump administration. Report by DRM News.
When the Constitution is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When the Constitution is under attack, ICE out of New York! ICE out of New York! ICE out of New York! ICE out of New York!
They are separating children. They're surveilling us. When is enough enough? Right now.
We all have to be out here to let everybody know that, at the end of the day, we're not going to stop because you're killing us. We're not going to stop. We're going to stay here, and we're willing to, let our be on the line for this. You know?
Were to go with their neighbor to 26 Federal Plaza, I want to thank you for being a real New Yorker.
Get up, get down. New York is an immigrant town. All right.
Gaslighting us about it, blaming and villainizing the victim. Yep. What's up, y'all? I am
how we as New Yorkers defend our immigrant siblings. That we will always stand together.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No one is illegal! No one is illegal! Power to the people! Power to the people! No one is illegal!
Our militarism and colonialism would find... For far too long, came on a ship and a boat to this country. And it was the native people that welcomed you.
Let's burst down the sidewalk!
It's important, honestly. It's just one, we lost a civilian slash a human being. You know, we all live in a small world. Doesn't matter what color or race you are. I'm here on, you know, even though me being so blind and what I'm dealing with, we had somebody who also that was in our community who passed away. And that's what we're here for. I'm here to support the cause.
Next up, we're very honored to rise up, take a stand! Rise up, take a stand! Rise up, take a stand! We stand in solidarity with the entire police.
It's difficult now. A lot of people are moving around scared. They don't know if they're going to be actually going to their work or to school or wherever the destination they need to get to safely and make it back home without being stopped and you know, going through all that process. So.
This is our SXM Daily Newscast. Thank you for joining us.